Before we get started tonight, ladies and gentlemen, the episode here, a fast break on IE Sports Radio. I want to talk to y'all about the last 8 years of the company. For the last 8 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes to building television shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. All the while, we've been continuing to be by the fans, for the fans, and with your help, we're ready to take that next step. When you go to our website, iesportsradio.com, you see our Patreon link with 5 different tiers. The first one started is $5 a month. This donation gets you shout outs on all 32 of our shows. Higher tiers include IE Sports Radio merchandise, IE Sports, access to IE Sports Podcasting University, and even chance to feature our segment show of our flagship show, Define a Moment. Thank you all very much for continuing to make IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all ad sports. I want to shout out to our Patreon members, Bay Area Rays, Marcus Los Great, Keith the Gate, and Anonymous. Thank you for everyone for making 8 years special, and here's some many more years to come. Now on to the show. Well, I apologize. We apologize coming on late, ladies and gentlemen. But we had some breaking news that happened around the college basketball world. We'll discuss that. Plus, is Ja Morant the leading choice for MVP, or would that go to somebody else? Plus, what's going on with the Hawks? It seems like they got a new general manager, the owner's son, who's about 26, 27, and kind of doing things that kind of, not like it to everybody else in the franchise. We'll discuss that on here and much more live on IE Sports Radio. Your direct feed guy is always sports, and you're welcome to join us. All right, join us as you shout tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Lots to talk about, lots to get into, and especially this news. And apologize for coming a little bit late. I'll still try and get details on this and what happened and all that stuff. Like I said, we discussed everything basketball, score-wise, game-wise, game analysis, even the news as well. As I just stated in the opening monologue, some breaking news has happened. Apparently late last night, or earlier in the morning, down in Tuscaloosa, Darius Miles, a forward formerly of the Alabama men's basketball team, was in an apparent shooting, and he's been charged with capital murder along with somebody else. The 23-year-old lady, unfortunately lost her life after going for help from the find out police officers for going to help. One other person remains in ICU. D-Lock, hate to bring you on like this. How you doing tonight, sir? But we were texting back and forth before the show. What you think about this? And this is after Alabama beat down LSU yesterday in a big game at home, and then this happens in the wee hours in the morning. I know as you as a coach right now, how you feel about if a player did this after that had a good meet or something like that over the weekend, and they do something like this. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, for me, um, this is a very tough situation. You know, you send the condolences to um, those that those who lose their lives to situations like this. Um, but in a situation like this, this is where you do celebrate wins, victories, but it seems like at some point nothing goes good late at night.
Yep.
When you're out, there's always different things. You never know what can happen and what has led to different situations. So, for me, this is why it's always told for athletes, students specifically, or students, but athletes also, to um, stay safe. Go home, you celebrate in there. Do it in a safe place because going somewhere out, we don't know different things that can happen. You know, those things that are out of the athlete's control, other people's control. So for me, I'm sure there's a lot more to this story that we'll find out more throughout the hour and through the weeks. But these different things that happen, can affect one's life. Darius is gonna have to live with this for the rest of his life. This situation, however the outcomes, um, the end result, he's gonna have to deal with this. So for me, this is a heartbreaking thing that I don't wish on anybody. And they'll get to them down to the bottom of it and find out more information. But these are things that you would not want on anybody, not just your athlete. So hope that when we do find out more information, we'll keep everybody updated. But this is terrible news for anybody. And I know as a coach and athlete myself, um, this just keeps me knowing to let my athletes know, and for me and others to stay, you know, like I said, do your celebrations. Hey, we had a great game, great season, whatever the case may be. But do it somewhere where you're in a safer spot place because you know we don't know what can happen outside of being out late, and things can definitely go left as we see definitely happened last night.
Yeah, we don't know the full details. All I know, if I didn't have to go on Twitter to see this, or it just popped up on my timeline, I would probably be talking to something different right now. But hell, we probably will be talking about Alabama basketball, how they beat down LSU the way they did, and Brandon Miller going off, and you know, are we talking like a guy that's potential top three? Like it's like a straight lock between him, the Victor kid from France, and Scoot Henderson. Are we talking about like a straight lock between those three? Now it kind of like this happening, and we talked about before we go on the air. Like also condolences go out to Georgia football. They lost one of their players in a car accident today. I think along with his girlfriend. So all this stuff happened around the same time. If you kind of look at it, kind of eerie, how everything happened. Car accident, then you know had those lives taken away. Then you had the basketball player stayed away. You know, killing somebody over some petty stuff. You know, let me get the names right for the Georgia football player. Devin Willock, and then the girl's name is LaCroix. Nobody's putting like a first name out. And Chandler LaCroix. So condolences out to them as well. But it's a sad situation, and I kind of see why. And you probably know about more about this being in big time programs, but I kind of see why that some of these big time programs got build these these athlete centers and stuff like that, trying to keep these athletes in one place. I kind of get that at times, but you probably as you know better than me. Hey, those guys and gals will get out regardless and go out and venture the city.
Yeah, and that's what they do. And like I said, it's never a thing where we want to spoil anybody's celebration or partying. But at this moment, as we see, and I told you before, like one thing is touching on the Darius situation. People are not fighting anymore. Their gun violence is very high. So it's at a high level, and so now going out in these different places and parties is fine, but my dad told me a long time that bullets have no name on it. So sometimes there are stray bullets as well. So in this situation, like I said, it is good to let athletes know, hey, you know what, we don't want to spoil your party, but just be safe. Um, be mindful because these people and their families, their lives are going to be changed forever. Very young. I mean, me and you, Davidson, we're about what 33, 34. We're around that
Yep.
age, and we've experienced a lot. Some of these kids are not going to see that age. Experience different things. So now, you want to definitely, like I said, it lets me know to make sure to warn my athletes moving forward, to make sure you be safe, whatever you do, and be mindful of the decisions that you make, because these decisions are is something that is going to could cost you your life, somebody else's life, or it can definitely change your life.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just it sucks. I not see anything else. The university, I mean, the school already pulled his bio from the basketball page already. I don't know how soon they did it, but it was already gone with the quickness. And then this is like after before we move on. This is after that it was announced he'd be arrested out the rest of the year with the ankle injury. And if you're going to be, it's not a good look. You're going to be out like that, the ankle injury, and then you out and about on the strip in Tuscaloosa, you know, doing what you did, you know, kind of hard, for Nate. I mean, for y'all as coaches, and kind of trying to tell young adults, you could caution them, but it's a tough, it's real tough, condolences to the young lady's family, and then we'll see what happens with him. It's kind of like I don't know. I don't know. You probably heard of First 48, but for y'all, for some of y'all that don't know, around here in Bama, First 48 really camped out in Birmingham. Well, one of their main stops is Birmingham, Memphis, but they were Birmingham a lot. And from that stretch, from Birmingham to Tuscaloosa, pretty crazy, especially around also about Bessemer City. So you got to watch out who you hang out with and all that stuff. I'll let you have the last word.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like I said, we're in a time where, like I said, one thing is people don't fight. I'm also in a time where, a lot of partying, drinking and driving is a thing that happens a lot. I think, and that is something that impacts, not only the driver, but the person that is sitting, the passenger, the people that they may get in an accident with, or the people that's on the street. So, um, to everybody, uh, be mindful of the decision that you make, because uh, I know for me, the biggest thing that continues to keep me on the right path with a few things I do is I think about how it impacts my parents. So I would take it. I would hope that a lot of people would think the same thing. Think about how it's going to impact your family members, because your kids, because one decision could possibly end your life, or it can, put you in jail for a while, a long time, or whatever the case. It's just one decision can change a lot. So doesn't mean to not do anything. That doesn't mean not to go out or anything, but just make smart decisions. And I think that is something that needs to be done moving forward. And hopefully, this is a learning experience for a lot of people, a lot of college athletes, um, to be mindful of their situations and where they are.
We'll if anything else new come out of this, we'll talk about it. But you know, what's so funny about this. Before we move on, I said that before, but I don't know. You heard about the situation out in New Mexico about the University of New Mexico and that situation out there. You know, situation we get to talk about on this show, but that story, the way that got set up. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, Google it. The University of New Mexico and New Mexico State situation. The basketball player, shot somebody, killed them and went play the game, and then the coach, you know, trying to get questioned by police, and they just took off and all that stuff, and something we have yet to discuss on here. There's a lot of stuff in college basketball going on. Oh, forgot about this. The Coppin State story. Juan Dixon's team he's coaching. That whole catfish situation. That's just wild in itself. There's a lot of craziness going on in college basketball. The young man having a heart attack on the court. It's a lot going on in college basketball that we ain't really talking about. But we should, and we should get it their time. But we'll get down the road. But to switch gears, D-Lock, you know, I guess we'll stay in the South. The Atlanta Hawks. Apparently, the owner's son of the Atlanta Hawks, when we talk about the DeJounte Murray trade, and we kind of say, God, they gave up a lot of picks and stuff from him. Well, apparently, the son of the owner, and I'm even sure I get his name. I had it. I swear to God, I thought I had it. Give me this. Nick Wrestler, the 27-year-old son of Tony Wrestler. Despite concerns from Travis Shinlink, the GM of the team, Nick Wrestler approved the multiple pick trade for Dejounte Murray. Now, we discussed about Trae Young and Nate McMillan, and then Nate McMillan thinking about retirement and all that stuff after the season. John Collins is allowed to seek a trade. He's been on a trade block for like at least 3 years now. Boban Mitch has been in and out of the lineup. Clint Capella, MIA. D-Lock, what's going on with the Hawks right now?
Everything is up in the air with this team right now. I mean, don't forget that Trae Young had an altercation earlier with McMillan, and it just seems like right now things are just not clicking. It feels like they have so many expectations, so high expectations. And don't forget, remember they were the team that beat Philly, and everybody was saying, "Well, hey, Ben Simmons is trash, blah blah blah, whatever." They kind of ended Ben Simmons' career in Philly. So since then, the expectations have risen. Then you're gonna make a big trade for DeJounte Murray, and we're definitely expecting for big plans. So for me, it just seems like with those expectations on the line, um, You make these big moves in the front office. Kevin Hewitt is one of those, one of those pieces that they had. Um, so for me, it just seems like the expectation has definitely made a big impact on this team. And in the front office, like they can't get things right now. And what makes it so bad is they're on the East. As we talked about many times, the East is a hell of a lot easier than the West. So hopefully they can get these things turned around. I mean, I know, like I said, it being a big front office issue, uh, that's that's where it starts and that's where it's gonna end. They need to pick up the pace and get things going. But uh, to be honest, man, I don't know. I'm not sure how long Trae Young actually stays there. Now that Dejounte Murray has been in, they have these different off the court stuff. Trae Young could be looking to possibly wanting to get traded.
If the owner of the Sun, if he's making these type of moves, I understand. I mean, you try to make a splash and stuff like that. You try and go for win now mode. But as we discussed in the show in the past, it seems like a lot of draft conversations have been given up for guys that really don't move the needle like that. Don't get me wrong, Deontay Murray's a nice player. Rudy Gobert is a fine, nice defensive anchor. But they're not taking you to the promised land. You know, as good as Deontay Murray is, he didn't really elevate the Spurs like that. Even with Popovich coaching him. Now, as you know, with Pop is being the head of San Antonio, there's always a big man in that center of things. There were David Robinson, Tim Duncan, for the most part. Short goal with Kawhi Leonard. You signed LaMarcus Aldridge away for Portland. But, with the way the NBA is now, you think like a 6'4", 6'5" guard like Deontay Murray would kind of be like setting the new trend, but it hasn't really worked out like that. And him going to the Hawks, okay, nice piece on Trae Young and stuff like that. You trade away, Kevin Huerter for a future first round pick, to the Kings, and then the guys you get back, you don't those guys ain't there. So on top of the Trae Young stuff too, John Collins has been on the trade block for like 3 years. Now he's allowed to see his own trade. Where he's gonna look at, I don't know. But the Hawks are in a mess right now. They're in a big mess.
Yep.
If it wasn't for your Orlando Magic in a rebuild, the Wizards who should be in a rebuild with Orlando, the Heat battling injuries, and Hornets this suck. We they just up in top of the division just by luck because everybody else below them got their own damn issues.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're looking at the fact that the Bulls just fell off a cliff. The Pistons, rebuild mode, as you said, and I think one of the biggest surprises for me, the Charlotte Hornets just can't get right now. So because of that, the Hawks are looking at in the eighth. They're the eighth right now. They're the eighth seed.
Yeah.
And because of, I believe that for me, I think that the only team that may start to fade off a little bit is the Indiana Pacers. I think that the Bulls will start to get it going, but I don't see any other team below the Hawks, the Raptors, the Wizards, the Magic, the Pistons, the Hornets. I don't see any of them making a strong push past the Hawks. And one main reason I have for that is I just think that the Hawks roster is just a lot better than those teams. Not DeJounte Murray, Trey Young, Clint Capella on UK. I can't say his last name uh, correctly, but they got some guys on there I think that'll continue to keep this team in the running for the East. But they won't pass those bigger teams like the Sixers, the Bucks, the Nets, the Celtics, or the Heat. But they'll be in the running, and it'll be just enough to get them in. But again, we're coming from a couple years ago. We've seen this team uh, push out or uh, knock the Sixers out of the playoffs, right? So we were expecting a lot from this team.
Yep.
And since then, it just seemed like they have not produced. It seemed like it just hasn't gotten there. And now they got a lot of off the field, off the court things going on, and it just doesn't seem, right now. So hopefully they can get this corrected. But hell, I knew something was gonna not be good when Trey Young did that interview and talk about the situation, him being hurt and having the issue with McMillan. I believe him not showing up at the game. That alone should tell you that there's a big issue coming up. But it's funny that this is happening. And remember when we seen DeJounte Murray get traded to the Hawks, we were thinking this team was going to be one of the best in the East.
Yeah.
I mean, you got two guards, just like the Hawks made Cleveland Cavaliers made a trade. You got those two. You got Capella. You got John Collins. We figured that John Collins was maybe on the move, but this roster's loaded. Now we thought the pressure would be off of Trey Young. So for me, I just don't know how things are what they're gonna have to do, but they're gonna have to get back onto it. Now, one thing that I do like is what AJ Griffin has been doing for them. I think he's having a great season. But it just right now, this team has to make that progress forward. You got all this kind of is very similar to the Wizards when they had Russ and Bradley Bill. Now, obviously, the expectations wasn't there, but you had two guys that you would think would help this team improve in DeJounte Murray and Trey Young, and they're not making that progress as we thought. So they got to get on it. But the only thing that's really on their favor is the fact that they're in the East, like you said. And you have the team now. My Orlando Magic have been playing exceptionally well recently, as they are down by 9 against the Nuggets. But they've been playing pretty well recently, so I think that they'll start to make a move up. But I don't think that they get past the Hawks. But like I said, this team has a very talented roster, and they should make a turn at some point. But if they don't, we may see some pieces be moved from this team.
Let me ask you this: do you think John Collins, if he gets traded this by the trade deadline, or he's still around, or does he get traded in the summer? Do you see him still in the roster by the trade deadline?
Well, I do see him being on the roster. I think that they're going to try to make. I think that he is. I just depends on where they are. If they can go on a winning streak, then I think they'll be fine. But with this team, you never know. Knowing that I believe they tried to move John Collins last year, I believe in off season. So it depends on the package that they get. But right now, I mean, what does this team really need roster wise? I think they're fine. They just have to get on the right track. Now, hell, if they do trade John Collins, I think he would be a hell of a piece for another team. But to move him by trade deadline, I think they're gonna have to take a trade that they don't want because it's already been noted that they wanted to move off of him anyway. So I think he's still there. Hopefully, around that time, we're talking about the Hawks looking a hell of a lot different.
I don't know. I'm almost there with you that he may be on the roster, but like, damn, man, it's like 3 years of these rumors and stuff like that. It's like, damn, if y'all gonna trade him. But if not, figure something out. But hell, it's like kind of hard if you seem like you can't trade him because Kid Capella is not playing right now. You know, last game against the Raptors, they won 114 to 103. But Bogdanovich didn't play. He had a quad injury. Granted, you got 20 plus points from Murray and Young, and but you gotta sustain that. They play tomorrow against the Heat. MLK Day, big day for the NBA, and we'll see because the Heat they kind of overtaking that first place spot in the Southeast. But if Hawks could get 20 plus points from those two guys, I think sky will be the limit for them. But that's a big if. And it seems like, the Hawks doing good, something else pops up with this team. So I don't know what else is going to happen with this team. A shakeup needs to happen with that core. If they didn't take advantage of the momentum from a couple years ago after being in the Sixers and make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, then I don't know what else they can do. But I think the trade market is so bad at the moment because the Rudy Gobert trade kind of really stifled things. It's like, damn, how much is this person really worth? We keep on seeing stories about Jay Crowder, uh, Bojan Bogdanovic out in Detroit. What's their trade market really? You can't ask for a first round pick for Bogdanovic if he gets traded for Kelly Olynyk and Saban Lee. I don't care how many points he's averaging right now. But he's averaging bad points with a bad team. Utah's going to ask to try a first round pick for him. Damn, dog. Y'all can't ask for that if y'all trade for him for 2 role players. Jay Crowder. I think me and you both like Jay Crowder, but he ain't worth first round pick. Maybe for a couple seconds. Eric Gordon been on the trade block for a couple years now. He used to be trying to ask for a first round pick for years, and they've yet to get one. If you ain't got a first round pick yet for him, they're kind of trying to change your tune on that. For John Collins, D-Lock, I don't know what's his value right now. I can't say what he get traded for, who, and whatnot. If I was, what? I just thought about this. If I was Phoenix Suns, I'll reach out for John Collins.
Oh yeah, of course.
Just to think of, I just paint to my head. Trey Crowder. If you had to give up first, so be it. I don't have the salary book in front of me for the Suns, but whoever's got a high salary, trade them and go from there. Swing for the fences. But
I'm with you. I mean, it makes sense because you get you a John Collins over there. That'd be a huge piece for them, especially when when Chris Paul, Devin Booker comes back. They're gonna need that presence, and the fact that Jay Crowder isn't coming back, John Collins would be a huge piece. But again, if Atlanta makes it known that he is available, I don't know if a team gives up a lot for him because they know that you've been trying to move off this guy for a while.
Yeah, that's when I get some of these names like you know we discussed the nauseam about the Lakers and Indiana, Buddy Hield, you know, and Miles Turner and all that stuff. You know, if the Lakers want to give up the picks, you know, they'll give up the picks. But also in the Lakers' mind, you know, they seem like they love Russ in his role, but his salary come out the books after this year.
Yep.
You know, you can trade Ray Pat Beverly in all season. He don't mind. As long as he's still in the league. He don't care. And whatnot. But they got a lot of salary cap potentially coming up next offseason. Miles Turner's a free agent. Miles Turner is getting offered a contract extension, but he's rebuffing it from the Pacers. So if you're the Lakers, like, if this dude's gonna be a free agent, we can grab him like that. What's the point? What's the point, you know, sending out our future for him?
Correct.
So
That's why, like I said, it'll be tough to see if he get moved by then.
this goes to scores around the league real quick. Today's scores: the Bulls, big time win for the Bulls, 132-118 over the Golden State Warriors. 43 points for your boy Vooch, 43 and 13 for him. No DeMar DeRozan, but hey, didn't need him. Zach LaVine has 27, uh, 12 points for Alex Caruso, 15 off the bench for Kobe White. You know, D-Lock, seeing Vucevic's stat line, is this like a game for him to kind of build on something? Because as we talk, like ever since he got to the Bulls, it's just like we need that 20 points per game Vucevic back. It's not there at times. Yeah, I get it. DeMar is the number one option, but it feels like at times he could be doing more scoring for this team that really don't have a lot of options down low. But is this a good sign for him and for the Bulls that he can ride his momentum for the rest of the year?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, to be honest with you, depending on how long uh, the Rosen's going to be out, uh, I think Boots will be fine. Now, the person that is very inconsistent, Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine to have a game where he'll give you 30, 25, 30, then he'll disappear the next game without DeRozan. But to make it easier on Booch and Zach LaVine, I think you're going to need players like Patrick Williams. We haven't seen much about him. Goran Dragic, he's going to have to come in and fill a good role. Kobe White is going to have to step up a little bit. Alex Caruso, clearly. Like, these are the guys that are going to have to play a role when DeRozan is out to make it easy on the stars like a Booch and Zach LaVine. And if they can do that, I think this team would be pretty decent. But, hell, they've had their struggles as well.
Yeah. Shout out to him for having that big night. You know, 5 for 10 for 3-point land. You know, he had a great night. Um, it is, you know, I know James Wiseman's been out for the Warriors, but you know, they're trying to hang their hat on Kevon Looney, but it's just like he's good in stretches, but he's not the long term answer. And then after past him, you know, you got Draymond, but he's 6'6". You know, Wiggins 6'8", but you know, you don't want him guarding that big man down all the time. So yeah, I can see Vooch eating. You know, I'm surprised more teams don't take advantage of the Warriors like that down low. But as we've seen with the Warriors, sometimes they can get by with that because with their high scoring ability. But hey, shout out to the Bulls. It's so funny, D-Lock. That article came about Zach LaVine not being happy and teammates kind of, souring on him. That article came out like last month. They kind of been playing a little bit better ball. They've been playing a little bit better ball. Granted, they're in 10th place, but, the way the Hawks been playing, the Pacers, they're being more and more surprise teams in the NBA, but I think you can still catch them because they're still young. Despite having Miles Turner and Buddy Hield in the fold and Halliburton, you can still catch them at times sleeping. So the Bulls got a chance to at least get up to like the 8th spot by the end of the month, in my eyes.
Yeah, I definitely see that. I mean, right now, the fact is this team. I mean, missing DeRozan, like I said, is going to play a huge part. But I think the fact is this team, what does that mean? And I'm pretty sure many remember, we started remembering, noticing Zach LaVine in the slam dunk contest. And it seemed like every time somebody goes to the slam dunk contest from that point on, their career just takes off, and his career has been taken off ever since. So I think as long as he is there, I think, like I said, this team should be fine. They got a couple of decent games coming up. Talked about Atlanta. They have them coming up. Got Detroit. They got a little run in the East by going against Indiana, Charlotte, and Orlando. So these are the games that are going to play a huge part in them moving up in the East. So I think that they will make that move forward. And hey, if they can do their job while DeRozan's gone, I think this team will be okay.
I definitely agree with you there. Just we'll see how long they can hold the fort with DeRozan out for a little bit. Other scores: Clippers 121 over the Rockets 121-100. Uh, God, Clippers were a team we were very high on at the beginning of the season, but the injuries and stuff like that. But it's good to see Kawhi playing more games, especially in the not back to back, but like concurrent games here lately. But big night for Terrence Mann, 31 points for him in the starting lineup, 30 points for Kawhi Leonard, 18 points for Norman Powell off the bench. So once they get Paul George back healthy, I think, and if everybody just plays on a consistent basis, I think the Clippers be okay. But it's just like everybody's not playing on a consistent basis. That's what the issue is with the Clippers. And I think that's what was killing a record. Right now it's just like nobody's playing on a consistent basis, and that's why. Granted, they still 6 in the West, but you feel like they should be higher than what they are.
Right. Exactly. And that's what, like I said, with how the season is going, I mean, like I said, for me, the biggest shock was Charlotte. Like, that's still one of the, looking at this record, like, damn, like, this, we thought, we at least think they were doing something here. We talked about the Gordon Hayward signing, I think, a year or two back, and we was like, that didn't make any sense. And what has it done for them recently? So, for me, again, that's a shocker, but the East is tough, but you have, Chicago with their ups and downs. We talked about Atlanta, so hopefully, if Chicago can get back on track, Brooklyn was getting. We talked about Brooklyn getting back on track, and then boom, injury and Kevin Durant. So now that happened, I think they had a game against OKC tonight, which I believe they lost.
Yeah.
So clearly showing that Kevin Durant is missed because I don't think Ben Simmons didn't play tonight. Hell, you were expecting TJ Warren to do something. He ain't do nothing tonight. He had 9.63 rebounds, but expected more. I guess the brightness from them was Royce O'Neal. So Kyrie obviously, but like I said again, I mean this the East is what it is. I think it's like I said, it's going to be pretty tough, but the Bulls can like you said hold the fort down till DeRozan get back. Maybe they can make moves down the stretch.
Let me ask you this about Ben Simmons. Because we kind of thought, like, okay, he's out for the year, you know, for whatever, back reasons, mental health, wherever you want to dub it. But, well, John Collins asked for a trade. And if you're Brooklyn, you don't have a good low post presence. If you're Brooklyn, would you make the call to Atlanta to kind of do a swap with Ben Simmons? I mean, with John Collins, maybe throw in a first. Like here, we'll give y'all a first. Here's Ben Simmons and a future first down the road, like 2027, something like that. And you give us John Collins and a second round pick or something like that. Would you be down for that? Because A, you get scoring down low because you ain't getting that from Ben Simmons. You get at least competent defensive player. You know, guy who could pass a little bit. Would you do that deal?
Oof, that's a tough one. Now for me, I tell you now, it'd be a tough decision to make. But let me tell you why I would consider it. One thing that you ain't got to worry about with John Collins is the scoring and the confidence. I think right now with Ben Simmons, they're still trying to build that confidence back. Um, let me see if I can double check. I believe John Collins has to be. Is he 25? I don't know if he's 25 yet. Ben Simmons. I'm sorry. Yeah, he's 25. So John Collins is 25. Ben Simmons has to be around there as well, 26. So around the same age.
Yep.
That's a tough decision to make, man. But the one thing that, like I said, I like about John Collins is the confidence is something that I'm not having to work on. It's there. Uh, the not worrying about trying to score in John Collins, I got to worry about it. He's going to do it. It's there. So for me, I probably would really consider that. Now, I do like the defense that Ben Simmons brings. I mean, right now, if you look at, even though he's not bringing too much of grabbing boards down low, but I think he can take away your best offensive player. Um, Recently, Giannis has had some tough games going against Brooklyn. I think mainly because of Ben Simmons. I don't think John Collins is that high of a defender. So, if I was to consider that trade, I definitely would look for some pieces to fill that defender void as well. Because although Ben Simmons is not that scorer for Brooklyn, he's on a team where he's not really needed to score. I mean, even though sometimes people are complaining about it, but you got Seth Curry, you got Kevin Durant, you got Kyrie, you got Joe Harris, all of these guys that their shooting efficiency needs to be their scorers, their shooters. Um, so they hold that load of having to score. They're more responsible for that than Ben Simmons. So now granted you send him to Atlanta. Does Atlanta run into the same situation? With the Ben Simmons?
Hey,
So
that's on them.
yeah, exactly. And at that point, you know, if that's the case, you have to see what is what is Atlanta asking for to because now yes, I'm taking your troubles for mine in a sense. So for me, I like I said, I would really think about it, but I know the main reason why is because of the confidence that I wouldn't have to really think about. I know that I can get John Collins to take shots and not have him think about it. But is that worth me losing a lot of defense? That's the question that 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 be important. Hell, I think even tonight, Josh Giddey had one of the game had a great game tonight.
Yeah.
And there's no defender, there. Clearly, I mean, you would think T.J. Warren's gonna play hell of a and some good defense, but he played okay on the defensive side. So, but he's not bringing the presence that Ben Simmons would. So, I will consider it if both parties. But like I said, if I'm the Hawks, listen, I gotta get a hell of a trade. And if I'm Brooklyn, I'm definitely like, yeah, we can definitely run that trade quick.
I mean, it's something to think about. It's like you don't want to put yourself in a playoff situation, and as well as Brooklyn's been playing since they moved away from all the noise and all that stuff, wanted or unwanted. Durant playing very well until the injury happened. Kyrie playing very well. Now he'd be more dependent on to kind of carry the load. The other role guys, it depends like who shows up. I mean, Russell, like I said, like you said, Royce O'Neal had a solid night. Joe Harris, you pay on his money, he still really ain't giving you nothing. I mean, Seth Curry had a nice night off the bench, but those don't happen too much. Don't understand why they're playing Cam Thomas. It's just like you gotta figure it out. You gotta do something. You gotta shake up the core a little bit. Yeah, I think if you get like that third scorer, like a Collins, I think that can do wonders for your team. And so much so that looking at who they started tonight, you can maybe push a Joe Harris to the bench and slide in John Collins there and move Royce O'Neal to your three. I mean, Royce O'Neal's a good defender. So, I mean, yeah, losing Ben Simmons and his size and whatnot will hurt. Nobody's denying that. But I think Royce O'Neal could, complement that much. So the production ain't going to be like totally lost there. And then, you got your third scorer to go on with Durant and Kyrie. And then you just off to the races there. But like you said, like you alluded to, like, what's the Hawks looking for back in compensation, though? So that's the thing. And then, like, we talk about, with the owner's son kind of, not listen to advice from, more experienced people. It's going to be real interesting to see. I mean, this is like a hypothetical we're just throwing out, ladies and gentlemen. But I think, you're kind of looking around the league and whatnot. If John Collins is seeking for a trade, why not Brooklyn? Why not Phoenix? You know, um, I almost thought about Sacramento. Why not? They took a stab at him. Trey Ray, Richaun Holmes. You're not doing nothing with him. Maybe throw in Davion Mitchell. You're not really doing nothing with him. You know, figure something that's kind of stay ahead in the pack. Other
Agree with that.
Yeah. Other scores, the Knicks. Oh, the Knicks. They shut me up this year. They won 117-104. Julius Randle had 42 points, 15 rebounds. I think he has found his groove after last year's disappointment.
That just seems like he's playing very well this year.
Do you Do you think Jalen Brunson and Randall make the All-Star teams this year?
Uh, it's gonna be tough. I mean, you got a lot of guards on the east side. I mean, I think so. I think Julius Randle's for sure. Um, for me, I mean, I think Jalen Brunson is a is somebody that's gonna be there as well. It'll be hard. I mean, you got some great guards on that east side, but I think he'll be a snub if he definitely doesn't make it. I'll say that.
Yeah.
But he's like I said, you're looking at Kyrie, Halliburton, Fred VanVleet is playing pretty well. Obviously DeJounte Murray and Trae Young. You got some guys. But I mean he's right in the thick of it. Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland. These guys are playing really good. So for him to not make it would definitely be a shock.
Yeah, I think he's deserving of it. I think it'd be a crime that he doesn't make it. I think hopefully they reward him because how he really helped New York and right now in their record. And then I think Julius Randle should be consideration as well. Last year was a disappointment. That first year in New York, he was great, carrying the team and stuff like that. Last year was kind of more of a disappointment with him and how he played, but this year he's really bounced back really, really strong. And the addition of Jalen Brunson has really helped things as well. And then I think if this RJ Barrett just kind of continue to make strides with that squad, I think that will go a long way for them. But I was kind of, I would say I was down the Knicks, but I was thinking, could Thibodeau maximize the ability of his team and not run them on the ground? And I see tonight, Brunson and Randall had 40 minutes a piece in that game. But that's the thing to kind of worry about with a Thibodeau-led team. Are they going to run these guys to the ground? And I sure hope they don't, because some of these guys got a lot of leg left in them.
That's definitely how he coaches too. He definitely they'll be blowing the team out. They'll still be out on the court. So
Yeah,
definitely noticed that about him.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Like I forgot what game it was. They were up big on somebody and they still had the starters out there. Like, come on, dog. Like what are we doing here? This is like you talking about like new age basketball in a sense. It's like these guys play, from youth league to AAU. Play in high school ball, and then if they make it to college, they play college ball. They play summer league, all that stuff. And you got the grind for the NBA season. And then off the top of that, if they get selected for the Olympic squad, they're playing that. I know these guys take care of their bodies and whatnot, all that good stuff. But it's a marathon, not a sprint, and you gotta be cautious of that. And you got the guys behind some of these guys to kind of balance it out. But it's a Thibodeau thing, and I know he's soured on Cam Reddish. I know I saw a report saying that they maybe look for a home for Derrick Rose. Aaron Fournier don't play that much anymore.
Nope.
But you gotta figure it out though, and you can't run everybody in the ground. Because if you do, then you gonna flame out in the first round, like you did a couple years ago. And God help you if you play the Atlanta Hawks and you lose to Trey Young again. That city may burn to the ground. Other scores: the Nuggets are up on Orlando Magic right now, 60-48. Folks have 11 points. Banchero has 10. Michael Porter Jr. 14 points for him. Jokic 8 points, 8 assists, 7 rebounds so far, and close to halftime on that one. The Spurs up by 5, right? I mean, not Spurs. The Kings up by 5 on the Spurs right now. Up by 7 right now on the San Antonio Spurs. 25 points for Harrison Barnes, who's been playing pretty well for these past few games. 19 for De'Aaron Fox. Sabonis at 16 and 13 right now. 12 points off the bench for Trey Lyles. 21 points for Jacob Patelli. 15 points off the bench for Josh Richardson. So, tight game right there. Sacramento, one of the more surprising teams in the NBA. You know, do the Kings keep this effort up, or do you see a choke job by them some point in the season?
I mean, it's definitely possible, but my biggest thing is De'Aaron Fox is playing great. So if he can continue his efforts, I think Kevin Huerter was out the last game,
Yeah.
and De'Aaron Fox, played extremely well. You had Terrence Davis, who comes in sometimes, brings great energy. Malik Monk clearly is doing what he's doing, and Sabonis. I think who's also playing very well for them as well as Keegan Murray. Keegan Murray. I like what he's bringing to the table to this team, and it's making a big difference for them. So I honestly think that this team is going to keep this moving forward. They're a fast-paced team, right? They score quick, and they're matching up against teams well with that. And Trey Lyles comes in, he keeps the pace going as well when Sabonis is out. So for me, I think they're going to keep this going for a while. Now, like I said, the West is a hell of a lot tougher than the East. So I think they're going to run into some of those teams that are going to be challenging, but they can score against anybody. And at this point, if you can continue that, I think they'll be fine, especially with playing, as fast as they do. And I think the Aaron Fox has been extremely great in the fourth quarter games. So, like I said, I think that this team would be good, and I don't think they'd drop off anytime soon. To be honest with you, they're actually one of the surprising teams so far.
Yeah, one of the more surprising teams for me. I didn't expect that this year for them. I mean, granted, you had a good off season with Sabonis in the fold. You only had it from a half season last year. You traded for Kevin Huerter, so you added more shooting. Signed Malik Monk. You drafted Keegan Murray. So you did a lot of, more spacing out and stuff like that. You got more time to gel with those type of players. And this is the result of it. And Mike Brown's doing a very solid job this year. He's still getting good scoring for Harrison Barnes. Richaun Holmes, a guy that was very solid when he played, but it's kind of really fine on rotation with the Kings. So I think if they can figure out that backup guard spot, because Davion Mitchell, he's solid, but he really hasn't, grabbed that brass ring like I think they hoped he had. So if they can clear out that backup guard spot and maybe find somebody there, I think that would go a long way for them come playoff time. just in case of De'Aaron Fox in foul trouble, or you can play somebody with a De'Aaron Fox like that. So, but Sacramento, one of the surprise teams of the year for me, along with the Pacers. I thought the Pacers, be one of the worst teams in the league, but they surprised me as well.
I'm definitely liking what I'm seeing from the Kings. Like I said, they play tough with anybody, and that's the biggest thing I really appreciate from them. I think that big move with the Sabonis has made great. It was a great piece for them. Also, Kevin Huter. I think that was a great piece for them as well. And they got guys that can come in rotation. Now, Davion Mitchell, I think he needs to see more minutes. Um, Harrison Barnes is playing very, very good to me as well. But like I said, with the guys that they have, like there's a time where they can give these guys uh, a break if need. You know, let the younger guys go out here and get what they need. Um, Sabonis, having another night where he's having a double double, so he's doing what he does. He's definitely an all star as well. Hell, he's on his way to a triple double. Looks like. So for me, like I said, I think I like what the Kings are bringing. If they can hold this up, man, they might be a team to deal with in the playoffs.
Yeah. Real quick before we head out, D-Lock, I want to go over the MLK schedule for the NBA. The schedule that I think they really take pride in and stuff like that. Celtics, Hornets in the early afternoon matchup. Bucks, Pacers. That should be a good one. Pelicans, Pacers. It sucks that Zion's out right now, but that'll be still will be a hell of a matchup right there in Cleveland. Raptors, Knicks. You know, can the Knicks continue their nice little roll, and can the Raptors kind of find themselves? Because they kind of just lost in the sauce, but real roster construction for this team. I gotta get that figured out. Warriors, Wizards out in DC. The Warriors have been bad on the road this year, and the Wizards are just there. So it'll be really to see if what gives there. Heat, Hawks. The Heat playing pretty well right now. The Hawks, got a good win the other day, but we'll see how that shakes out. Jazz, Timberwolves. Boy, a lot of articles written by Rudy Gobert and how he's been playing. And the Jazz, Laurie Markkinen, you talking about a guy maybe up for the most improved player of the year. He's been balling out in Utah this year. Suns, Grizzlies, and Memphis. Let me ask you this before we got the air. With the way Ja Morant been playing, I think he's my choice for early odds MVP. Do you have him up there, or you have somebody else in mind for your early choice MVP?
He's up there, but he is definitely in the running with Embiid and Jokic. Jokic is playing outstandingly well now. We're not seeing so much from Jokic just because Jamal Murray is playing at that level, almost at the level he was playing, or he was in the bubble. But I think that Ja Morant is. We see what that team looks like with and without him. Now, granted, without him, they're still a pretty decent team, but with him, I think that puts them at a different level. So I think that he is in that running. But there are some guys that you definitely can't rule out, with him. So for me, like I said, I like what Ja Morant has been doing. Um, but the question is, how far can this Memphis team go this year? You got all these guys with the Dylan Brooks, Desmond Bain, John Morant playing on the MVP level. Steven Adams, Jaren Jackson, and others. Can he continue this role and get them to the NBA Finals, especially with how Golden State is looking? But I definitely think that he is in that. He's definitely in the run up for the MVP right now. Definitely hard to not vote for him.
I think he's my front runner in my eyes. I know Joker's been playing well, but I don't see the voters giving him to 3 years in a row. I don't foresee that happening. And Morant keep this play up and doesn't get injury or anything like that. Then I think it's his to lose. Now some people bring up Jason Tatum. Yeah, he's up there as well. I'm not forgetting about him. Um, Donovan Mitchell, he should get some consideration as well. Giannis, he should be up there every year. Um, I, Granted, it was the Lakers' record. Anthony Davis was up there, but he's been out for a while, and I think that pushed him out of consideration in my eyes. Devin Booker was up there, but he's out right now. But I keep going back to Ja Morant. If he keeps his play up, I think it's his to lose.
Yeah, he's been playing that well. I think that if he do continue that, you're definitely looking at the MVP, especially in Memphis. I think that, and I wonder how long it's going to take Golden State to get back on track. But with this Memphis team playing how they are playing, um, do expect for them to have a different results come playoff time this time around, especially with Ja Morant playing how he is playing.
And to finish it up, Lakers play the Rockets out in LA. Uh, the Lakers should win that one, but you never know. The Rockets, you know, this is a rebuild mode. That's all I really can say about the Rockets. So, we'll see how the MLK stretch of games will go tomorrow. I know a lot of people will be off tomorrow. Don't If you're off tomorrow, please don't use it just like a holiday just to be off. Please reflect on Dr. King's message and what he meant. Anyway, every way, what he said. So do keep that in mind and don't use it just like a holiday just be off. But D-Lock,
I agree with you there.
yes, sir. Some people, you gotta tell some people that you gotta let some people know on that. They just treat it like a regular off day. Like, no, 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 no. And we know here in the South they try to tie MLK Day with a certain Confederate loser. But
Right.
but we ain't gonna talk about that. But anyways, this has been our show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in with us. We had a little run over tonight, but hey, that's what makes the show great. D-Lock, how can people find you on social media?
Black Dash 813, Twitter and Instagram. Let them know where they can find you at, man.
You can find the show on Twitter at FastBreak IESR. That's FastBreak IESR. Also, you check out iSportsRadio.com for all your latest show news and feed. We have some new shows. Well, I won't say new shows, but it's kind of like reintroductions to some shows that got lost. So I think Wisconsin is coming back into the fold. We have a new St. Louis show out there. And I feel like I'm missing one. Also, we added our San Francisco show, talking about straight 49ers. They won this past Saturday, so do check them out on iSportsRadio.com. All of these shows, news and feeds on there. You can follow me on Twitter at Spawn4288. That's Spawn4288. I do know a show on the side called The Crooks Process. You can follow the show on Instagram and Facebook. You'll see the CP logo on the profile pic. So do follow me in there. I do TikTok as well at Wert88. That's Wert88, WERT88. I do videos on there as well. I'll probably do a video here in a little bit about the Darius Miles situation and all that stuff. I'll talk about that real quick. But till then, we'll talk to y'all next week. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in with us. I know the college the breaking news that we talked about sucks, but we'll try and talk more positive next week. But until then, we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.